There's going to be no next time.
I think it's bullcrap.
Actually, that's not true. The radio station has been airing that all morning.
Kevin Pollak, kind of a sucker.
Mr. Radio DJ thinks I'm not funny here.
It's the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life. I do love when there be a chick. Give me the radio voice. You know.
Talk in your radio. Say the weather, but say it how you say it on the radio. I think I sound the same. Am I bad?
How long you been married? Are you married? I don't even know.
24 years this year, 25 next year. So if somebody could go ahead and get married next year so we can finally reach that level where they do that thing at weddings, 25 years or more, because that's really the only ready we've stayed married.
You've lived in separate houses for years.
To 25, and then once we dance on the dance floor, we'll be like, that's it, we're done. We only stayed together for this moment, and then it's over.
I'll tell you what's far more impressive is being in a relationship with your morning show co-host for as long as you have.
Wait, no, I get them mixed up. Now, Jane's 24 years. That means Dina has been 22 years.
Oh, that's like getting your wife mixed up with your girlfriend.
Well, it's a little... when Dina and I started...
you ever just switch them just to have...
all the
just
time.
To see what happens.
I know that Jane doesn't appreciate it. Dina's a little more okay with it.
I don't think Dina would either. I think neither one of them would.
Jane, not so much. The funny story about when Dina started, though, when Dina and I started, it wasn't her and I. It was Dave, Kevin, and Dina. And Kevin was a comedian like yourself.
Yeah.
And so when
he's killed himself by now.
Yeah, pretty much. I think it was a couple years ago. Anyway.
Did he really?
No.
Okay.
No. No. Kevin is doing fantastic in Indiana on a morning show.
Yeah,
I'd like to just point that out.
Oh, wow.
But when we started...
What did he do that you didn't do?
Well, it's something better, I think.
Didn't knock somebody up, huh?
That's the part we don't talk about.
Okay,
But with Kevin, when he was on the show, Kevin would be the closer. Right? And so we would do a bit, and then Dina and I would banter, and Kevin would come in with the quip or the joke. And so then one day they removed Kevin from the show. They decided that three-person morning shows now needed to be two-person morning shows.
Now, what artistic, creative reason? No, hold on. I'm sure it was some sort of reason for the product the...
Sure, it was a strategy to make the show better.
Oh, yeah, to streamline it.
Yeah, we're going to...
Why do we need two goddamn microphones in here when we can just have one? Shit.
Can she just share that microphone?
Hold on, why are we even paying for it? Why can't we open the window and have you shout the goddamn morning show out to them?
The two of you get your chairs right next to each other on the... But
you tell we both worked in radio.
Right. Well, when Kevin left, Dina and I, neither of us was okay. I'd never been in that closer role. And when you talked in the three-person morning show, I don't know if you were like this, but you knew you didn't have to answer every time. So we had two major problems. One was you had to answer when the other person talked.
Yes.
The other was...
It changes.
You have to close the break. So Dina and I will both tell you that our morning show that next couple of years was really not great, because it'd be like, hey, that was a funny bit. Remember when that incident when you were at talking about the roller rink when you were younger? Yeah. Yes. Do you close? No, I don't. No, but Kevin used to close. WDBR. And so it took us years.
That's hilarious. I love the honesty in that, though, is our show sucked for years.
By the way, it took me, I think it was only a few years ago that I brought that up to Dina, and Dina said to me, oh, good, I'm glad you said that, because I thought it sucked too first few years.
You guys didn't openly talk about it? Because I was on... So let's just go ahead and start this podcast officially. We've actually been talking for 45 minutes now.
Sorry.
This thing, no, don't be sorry at all. Look, they told me that I was going to talk with a guy from Kiwanis. Did I pronounce that right? Kiwanis?
Kiwanis?
Kiwanis,
yeah.
And, no, look, they didn't. They just said Dave, okay? So I was expecting, and I can say this because I'm
some Kiwanis guy.
Well, no, a white cracker. I was expecting a pasty white cracker name, and that's what I got.
And that's what you got.
But no, but look, and again, I love Kiwanis. I don't know you guys, but you've done radio forever. You've talked to the people, and God bless them. Here's the interview. Hi, yeah. It's gonna be good. I want to say thank you, y'all people out there. It's gonna be, and those are the good interviews, because the bad ones. Here's some.
Yeah.
So you're going to be here. Go ahead and give me what's the date? This will be the date for the event that you're here to talk.
April 13th, Kiwanis Superhero Hustle 5K. Kids get free capes. $15 for kids, $15 UIS students, $30 for adults. Proceeds benefit downtown Kiwanis community programs. Do this because it's important, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see kids running with capes. And Google Superhero Hustle 5K. There's my promo.
Awesome. And we're going to get back to that if the show gets shitty, but no, but
we're not going to let that happen.
Of course we're not.
The India-Pakistan war continues. They had to take a brief ceasefire while the one rifle was passed back and forth.
The radio show will open up, and then you do that, and then you throw it to me, and I'm here to promote what you just said. And you go, yeah, yeah. So it's going to be pretty fun down there, huh? What is this? Your third year?
Yeah.
Yep. Wow. So
Yep.
tell us what's going to be going on this Saturday.
There's a chicken fry. And
no. You're talking too good. That's the thing. It's
here's how we make the chicken.
It's like when a shitty actor tries to act shitty. Like you ever see like Robert De Niro try to be a bad actor? He can't do it, right? Because it's too much in you. You've done radio too long,
right?
To just go, yeah,
By the way, the other day I was filming Joey on WTAX, who was doing an interview, and he's got a tight window on his station. He's got 4 minutes to do it. Okay?
Pretty personal then. Oh, never mind.
Well, real personal.
Okay, yeah.
But I mean, you've got to wrap it up in that time. You had a gentleman on there that already was a hard interview, and by the time he got to the end of the interview, he had like 10 seconds to wrap it up, and he said to the fella, "Give me the website." And the guy's like, "Well, it's you know what?
I love it.
I tell you, was there an A? I think there was it might have been some numbers. I got a sheet of paper. Did I put it in my back pocket? I put it in my. Hold on. Do you have a computer over there? Because I'm going to look this up with that goggle thing, and I'll just
the goggle
thing. There's park in it. I think there's a park in the name and
.gov.
Hysterical.
Man, that is so frustrating. But okay, now what's harder when you talk to somebody and you can't get anything out of them, or when they won't shut the fuck up? Because now I know what you want to say initially. Well, if they won't shut the fuck up, that's easy. But when you got to get them off. And then you got to start the interview. Hey.
No. Okay. So I'll answer that with it's harder with the people that you can't stop them from talking. Because
why would that be hard? It's going to be coming up this weekend. It's going to be a really good time. I've said the same thing too. Yeah. And
okay,
I was telling Joey about. Hey, Joey, what do you think about that? It's going to be this funny though, man. This
we
Saturday,
need to
8:00. Boy, I got so many stories. I'm going to tell you this about Dave. Dave,
Kyle, it's great having you.
Weekend. He was here. We had a corn dog.
So listen, Kyle, we need to. So you know who the hardest was? No, you're going to hate this answer. But if it was a bad comedian.
Oh, no. I totally get
back
that.
in the day when we would have that happen.
Name names.
And,
fuck it. Name names.
I don't remember.
I'll name
Seriously,
names.
it was.
Fuck you. Was that son of a bitch? Would you know?
No, was it hard to close?
No, he was a shitty comic. He came into every year we had to talk to this asshole.
Yeah,
comedy on Broadway, and we interviewed a million different comics. Okay, and there have been a lot of Kevin Pollak, kind of a cocksucker, great actor. You met him? You met him?
Same interview.
Oh, really?
Did we just move him around amongst the?
He was a douchebag to you too.
It wasn't the best interview we ever had, but with the comics, it was bad radio if it kept on being not funny.
Yeah.
And then if you tried to close them, if they were the type of people that were like had that ego and they really didn't want that,
they had to hit that.
And then they had to do that thing where they're like, I guess I'm not. Well, Mr. Radio DJ thinks I'm not funny here. What is it about my shtick that you think is not fun? And then so you would have this. I don't know how to close this. And these were the times that Dina will tell you she would freeze. Mm-hmm. Like she's looking at me like she's like, you're the lead man. So what do you want to keep this going? And you could not close them. You could not close them.
It's impossible. Well, and because again, as somebody who has done both for decades now, full of mental illness, full of men and women, mostly men, mental illness. So you have a man with mental illness in the radio, and another crazy. My buddy Jeff, he's a comedian in Peoria. He says that all comedians are just mentally ill T-shirt salesmen. It's true.
Okay.
And so yeah,
that's
it's
one
just,
way of saying
it's a battle of shitty egos. Like, you like my shitty comedy? No, I'm going to cut you off of my shitty morning show.
Yeah, and we couldn't close people for anybody's. So while we're going kind of down that road, let me ask you this, because this just came up a month ago in our building. In the time that you did, how many years did you do radio?
04 to last year. So 38 years.
38 years. Most embarrassing public radio moment.
Oh my God, there are so many. Now, when you say public, okay, let's see. There was a time that I had. It's in my comedy act, but it's true. We had a dominatrix in the studio, and she pulled my pants down. My underwear came with it.
Uh-oh.
There were a bunch of people in there too, so it wasn't like there was just one guy. And then I hadn't. Dude, it was no man's
unplanned, I'm assuming.
Oh, bro, it was like George in Seinfeld. I mean, it was cold that day.
Oh, you felt like you were shortchanged?
Plus, I have a small penis, so it was very embarrassing.
Yeah.
And there was a girl that pointed at it. My co-host, she pointed. She said, "Oh my God, it's a button on a fur coat." And that was. I mean,
is that live on air?
Yeah, that was literally 20 years ago, as of this year, and it's not like I haven't fucking stopped thinking about it every day of my life.
Well, nothing I'm going to say is going to be matched to that.
Anyway, but no, that's just one of them. So,
when I was here in Springfield, when you do the remote, when you would mess with people back in the studio and just have fun with them, hoping that you were in queue the whole time. One of the guys
meaning that when so like if you're out on a remote, I'm saying this for the lay person, and let's say that Dave's back at the studio and I'm not live on the air, but Dave hears me, so maybe I'm wearing some headphones and Dave goes, "Hey man, we're going to be going live in 5 minutes or whatever," and I'm going, Dave, man, there's a hot chick out here. Look at that booty. It happens all the time, still does. And then Dave's back in the studio laughing, and then he might joke and go, "Oh shit, I left the button," and then you'd laugh. Sometimes it was true though.
End up in a GM's office the next day.
Oh yeah.
I was at Robin Roberts Stadium. Now this is way back when whatever microphones that you were on, other things could be on the same frequency. And so I was doing a radio remote there. I got done with the break, and I don't remember what the joke was. Fig was the name of the jock back at the studio, and we were joking about something, and I said, I don't remember how we got down the road, but I said, Fig, I've always been attracted to you. I mean, it's the bulging biceps, it's the hair, man, I just can't stop thinking about you. As I'm saying this, I swear to you, I'm hearing myself.
Yes.
And so I call him. I said, "Fig, are we on the air? Are you sure we're not on the air?" He's like, "No, we're not. I'm telling you, Dave, we're not on the air." Now, a normal human being would get smart and say, "Well, whatever is happening, don't keep doing it." But I kept going.
No,
Fig,
promise.
I've got a picture of you at my house. I've been thinking about you I'm still hearing myself.
You kept going.
Kept going. And so finally, I must have asked him 2 or 3 times, you are messing with me. I am on the air right now. He goes, "Dave, you are not, I don't know where you're hearing yourself. You are not on the air." Finally, 10 minutes later, this dude comes running down the stairs of Robin Roberts Stadium, comes up to our radio remote and goes, "Turn off your mic."
So Wow. So
whatever frequency I was on, everyone in Robin Roberts Stadium heard the whole thing.
Oh my God.
Heard the whole thing.
Now, I've heard a lot of radio stories, like I said, saying the wrong thing and going over the air, but I've never heard
mortified.
That your mic was on the same frequency as the
Robin
baseball
Roberts
stadium.
Yep.
Good Lord. You've heard stories before, like I think Dolly Parton's, one of her concerts, or maybe a couple have been interrupted in the past by the same thing. She had like the headset frequency, and then somebody else had something, and all of a sudden over the speakers you hear the same thing.
You could hear it over the concert?
Yeah. So that's crazy.
Yeah,
Also, in a related story to Liberace's story, an unmanned probe of Uranus.
It's haunting to this day.
Now, we never did that, but I was voice tracking, and by that, I'm going to break the illusion of radio.
Oh, yeah, here comes the voice tracking.
Go.
Voice tracking.
Yeah, here comes the illusion that you should have learned in 2000.
Is this like magic when you reveal this? Are you immediately banished from the...
Yeah, but I think it's kind of like magic if imagine that nobody watched magic anymore. I'm joking.
Do you all get that? Okay.
I would never joke about magic.
As if the magic show had less people watching the magic show.
But the people in charge of the magic show said, "It's fine. Everything's fine.
It's always been a great magic show.
We don't need to change a goddamn thing about this magic show."
Meanwhile, everyone's like, man, I'm not going to go to any more magic shows because something, I don't know what's happening with these two. They don't like magic shows. They don't like them.
People keep killing themselves at these magic shows. That metaphor got away from me. What were we talking about?
What were we talking about? You were...
Yes. So I was on the radio. Thank you very much, and that's all I need. I swear, in a lot of ways, I think I have I just need a sidekick, but not like an intern, not a good one. You're not a sidekick. You're a guy.
I can intern, yeah.
Yeah, but the sidekick intern where they just sit there and go. Kind of like the old our buddy Dave from earlier.
Yeah, just nod. Yeah, just nod and
what was I talking about? Snickers. Yeah, okay, that's right. So Snickers.
Teeth.
Yeah, I got teeth. So let me tell you about these damn teeth. No, I was voice tracking magic. I was recording, meaning that I was recording a break for later. And this is back when that Rebecca Black, Friday. That show?
Yeah.
That came out, and I was playing it and the guy that I was doing the afternoons with at the time, whatever, filling in, he goes, "Oh my God, this is the worst song of all time. I stand by this. I hate this song." So here's the thing. My mic wasn't in program, meaning that it wasn't going over the air live. His mic was. So they hear and I remember I go, "Oh my God, were you in live?" I go, "How funny would it be if we were playing a shitty Def Leppard song?"
Yeah.
Swear to God, I turn on.
Yeah.
Awesome shit. He goes, "This is the worst fucking song I've ever heard in my entire..." No, he didn't say fuck it. "This is the worst song I've ever heard in my entire life. I stand by the... Come on, hot, sticky, sweet. God, this sucks. From my head to my feet, yeah. God, this is awful." It's pretty great.
I worked with Missy Sullivan on mornings when I first got here to Springfield, and Missy had this great edge to her that just made her, I don't know if you can say edge and endearing in the same sentence, but that's what people loved about her.
Yeah.
And so there was a commercial that had just finished. It went right into Missy's news. And right at the end of the commercial, the person recorded it and went, "And so head on out there and get to their new address at 105 Main Street." And then there's a pause, and you hear on the spot, "Could this spot be any bleeping longer?" And right into Missy's news. And I mean, she just burst out laughing.
Oh, good,
right?
yeah.
And I'll never forget this. And she just lost it on air. And then every break, 2 or 3 breaks after that, they would come back to her, and she could not pull it together because she thought it was so funny that this commercial happens. The next day, as I remember it, they brought her in and said, "Hey, we're suspending you for a day." And she said, "What?"
For a day.
Because the client wasn't mad about the part of the spot where they said, "Could this spot be any bleeping longer?" The part they were mad about was that Missy could not pull it together, and she kept laughing about the whole thing.
That's what they're mad at.
And so that is Missy's story of
God.
the one day she got suspended.
We expect a certain degree of professionalism.
That's exactly what was
That's
happening.
what it was.
And I always felt bad for her on that one. So
wow, so there was Fuddruckers. I know.
I love Fuddruckers.
Buddy of mine was doing a show down in Tennessee, messed it up. Said, "Hey, it's brought to you by Buttfuckers." Out of the, and he stops. Yeah.
Was that on air?
On air, yeah.
Did they?
No, I don't know if they had a dump. We'll pretend a dump button. By the way, is where you hit the. See, most radio stations these days they have. Well, they used to. You hit a button and the last 7 seconds they disappear, and then it goes live again. Pretty interesting, right?
Yeah, right.
And then over the next couple minutes or whatever, slowly it'll start stretching out time. It's a very interesting thing. But here's what happened thanks to the 1996 Deregulation Act. If you want to fast forward 45 minutes, I'm going to... See, 3 companies own
45. You're going to wrap this up pretty quickly.
The Telecommunications Act of 1996 essentially took away competition in this country. In 1996, the media business wanted to have control over the acquisition of radio and TV stations. Companies like Clear Channel to have an unlimited amount of radio stations acquisitions through the country. And that actually destroyed independent radio in this country. Before the Telecommunications Act of 1996, a company could not have any more than 40 stations.
It's good, yeah. So because of Clinton, goddammit, the 3 fucking companies can own everything. I've been in meetings where they've tried to convince us, like DJs. Okay, we're talking about employees in a building, in a business where everybody's job hanging on by a thread.
Right.
That the best thing for this business would be if the FCC let one company own every radio station in the market.
Said that in a meeting?
Said that to us. Yeah. What
was the reaction of the room when that got said?
Oh, dude, it was God, what's his Mike Colvey. There we go. Yeah.
Okay.
Mike
Okay.
Colvey. You know what the reaction in the room was? Fucking cowardice. It had to be. It was people being like, yeah, but
Nobody pushed back.
I didn't push back except for this. Here's what I did, right? And I could. And again, Mike Colvey's a fucking.
These are great stories.
No. Fuck you, bro. But he's so like Darth Vader's, and they're going, I believe if we eliminate our competition, yeah. Right.
Also, I'm your dad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Spoiler alert. So, but I can't hide my face. So the whole time I'm just going.
Did anybody notice you doing that? Like, were you?
No, but what they did notice was me yelling in the parking lot afterward, and Mike Colvey never treated me the same way again after that. Now,
that was it?
Now I don't know if he could just like sense it, or maybe his ears were burning because there was money to be made in a station to rape somewhere. That might have been why. March 4th and fuck him, right, Mike?
We could do this all day.
It's just the next 6 hours is going to be us airing our radio grievances,
or just the stories. Because now I'm envisioning the meetings I've had that were awkward. I did a remote. I think this was with Missy, where we did this remote at and I think it's a place that's not even here anymore, where it was all about lawn and garden and things. And so we had done this remote. Going into this remote, I don't even remember. They weren't really doing anything. You know those remotes where you go where I don't think a lot of people are going to come out to this remote.
Yes.
You know it going into the remote, but it was the kind of remote where you get there and the manager comes up and goes, can't wait for those 300 people to come out here. And you're like, okay.
Oh, God.
I don't think that's happening.
It's not been communicated to the business exactly what this remote broadcast is going to be. Sometimes I've had him say, oh, so you're going to be out here like spinning records? Like, that is not what I'm going to do. And then getting mad at me like, bro.
Yeah, why didn't you bring in more people? So the next week, but there's a simple 2-hour remote. The next week, all of a sudden, we're called into this meeting, and both Missy and I were told, listen, we're pretty, the client's pretty upset about the remote, and he thinks he knows why it failed. And we're like, oh, this ought to be good. Okay, tell me why it failed. Well, it turns out that you were saying poinsettia
instead of.
And it's poinsettia.
Yeah. I mean, I swear, I'd go out there and buy them poinsettias, but, they just have poinsettias.
So people didn't come because the people that know lawn and garden, the minute they heard us say poinsettia,
right? Yeah,
it was wrong, and so it was officially the weirdest meeting I've ever been in, because it went on for like an hour about the pronunciation and our poor quality of work, and then after that we found out that the sales rep had forged a letter with our names on it to the client, and it basically said, we apologize for ruining your radio remote. We now understand that poinsettia is said this way with 4 syllables instead of 3. I'm even mixing it up. 4 syllables instead of 3.
So what you're saying is that you were right the whole time?
So this happens, and we figure out that this has happened. It gets back to us.
Yeah.
And then we ended up in a second meeting, and that's one of the most heated meetings I've ever been in. It's the only time in my life I've ever thrown out legal or lawyers or this or that. And it was the whole time
a poinsettia.
Over a
poinsettia.
The whole time I'm going, this is really over the word poinsettia. And then along with that, I'm thinking, what is the real pronunciation?
Wait till you get to azalea. You're going to fucking pull a goddamn knife on somebody.
Where
over
were
that
you
shit.
in that meeting? Now, that would have been fantastic.
Oh, I would, dude. No.
Oh, don't even. So that was the weirdest.
I thought the big payoff was going to be that you Googled it and it was actually correct. Poinsettia.
No, I want the mystery to continue to this day.
Sure.
I don't know
the
right pronunciation of this word.
It's like that Superman villain that if he says his name right, he disappears to the other dimension. You know what I'm talking about?
That's exactly what That's what it felt like.
There's one guy with no girlfriends who's laughing at that joke, and it's me. While I'm editing.
Did you ever have to apologize to listeners for anything? Was there ever a time we said, I would like to let the listening audience know
I'll tell you what.
I have messed up and here's how.
So I'm going to have to Tarantino this my way backwards and wrap up a few loose narrative threads. So the dump button is where you get a delay. You hit the button. One time, Tim Wilson, very amazing comedian, had to apologize to the listeners. You know Tim Wilson?
Heard the name.
Southern comedian. Uncle BS, where were you? September. Great. I mean, one of the funniest comedians ever. And he had done radio forever and ever and ever. Just passed away, actually, relatively, I don't know. I say recently. It's 10 years ago at this. You know what? Fuck, you're older than me. What are you, 63?
72.
There you go. Yeah. So time just passes by. But it's recently to me, and we had one of his last interviews, you know, and he goes, I don't know why people love me. I'm not that fucking funny. And and Tim had one of those big booming, and you heard the cuff and the fuck and all of the goddamn bit of it, right? And he goes, oh, well, just go ahead and hit the delay. Well, there is no delay. And I'll tell you about the delay. I started working there in 2004. Okay,
and no delay.
Jimmy Carter was president in 2004.
Yeah,
and
right after Nixon.
Exactly. And I swear to God, they were getting a delay. 2017, this interview happens. We'll say 15. No fucking delay. So you know this. When in radio, when you say fuck, or I've actually knock on fucking wood, as you think, I never cussed on the air, right?
Yeah, me neither.
I said jokes I shouldn't say.
Yeah,
I said insinuations I shouldn't say.
Right.
Never cussed on the air.
Yep.
But they tell you when you do it, just move on. Don't acknowledge it, because most people are not going to know they heard it. Now, again, if it's rock, maybe it's a little different than, but on a rock show, there's strippers. I mean, again, you don't want to do it, but just don't. Tim does not do that. Tim goes, oh my God, I said the F word. Oh my God.
This is all happening live.
All live. No delay. Thank you, fucking Lou Dickey, you piece of shit. And your fucking piece of shit brother.
So you would have suggested having the delay at this point. Would have been beneficial.
Very diplomatically. Yeah. Yes, I would have. But so Tim goes, oh my, 28 years I've done comedy. I've never said the F word. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm sorry.
This is still going.
Still going. I'm sorry. Tim's fine. I'm going, Tim. I said the F word. And yeah. So then that was quite funny.
I still remember, this is much lighter, but still, when Chief Alinowick was the big deal, whether or not they keep him or don't keep him. And
help me out, because I don't.
Chief Chief Alinowick, University of Illinois.
Yes,
that was I don't want to say, I don't know what the right word is, but he was representative of the university, and no longer is, because they had him. They didn't want to mascot. They didn't want to say mascot. However they would have referenced it, but he always had a routine that he did at sporting events and things, and then there was a whole to do, and he does it no longer.
Now, is he an actual Native American, or is he a?
Boy, I'm assuming, but I don't.
But was it a guy in a costume that did stuff?
I honestly don't know. Yeah. But what I do know is that at the time they were talking about. Have him, not have him was a huge debate.
Yeah.
Huge debate. And so I had said on the air, Marquette in Milwaukee changed their name from the Warriors to Golden something. I don't even know what the current name is. So why is this such a thing? Why not just change your name and call it a day? Life goes on. So does college. And I don't know why that was what just angered people to no end. Emails, phone calls, the whole nine yards.
White people. You don't want to get aging white people angry.
Whatever it was, I got a lot of phone calls.
You can't say it. I said, because you know who wasn't pissed about that? Fucking Native Americans. They were like, I insist that you desecrate my people with your fucking sport that you created on my land. I insist that you do that.
I don't know what the story was, but it's the only time I had to apologize on air.
Wait, you for that?
But no. I wasn't told. Now, this wasn't something that management said to me.
Oh, yeah.
That like I felt like I needed to say something on the air. In my mind, I'm thinking, this is as ridiculous as Poinsettia. This is really one of the craziest things I've ever worked with. What funniest person you've ever interviewed?
Oh my God, man, there were so many. Sadly, they're all fucking dead almost. Tim Wilson, Vic Henley, great comedian out of the South who was around for a long time. Caroline Ray, really, really funny. You know Caroline Ray?
She heard the name, yeah.
She was on Sabrina the Teenage Witch. She actually replaced Rosie O'Donnell on the Rosie O'Donnell show. And I totally got when she got her own show. Why? Because she was just a house of fire, man. Yeah. Boom, boom. Pat, the comic, Miss Pat, she was amazing, out of this world.
Okay.
I don't know. What about you?
The one that surprised me was Weird Al Yankovic.
That's great. So we interviewed him over the phone, never in person.
Okay, interviewed him in person at a state fair, second year in radio. I'll never forget it.
Oh, it's so cool.
In a trailer. And I mean, the wit was like nothing I'd ever heard before. Nothing I've heard since. So people think of him as this nutty, crazy, goofy parody artist, and he was a fantastic comedian.
He's brilliant.
Like, he was so quick-witted. I'd never heard anything like it. I could have done that interview for 10 or 15 minutes and been entertained by this guy. To this day, and we've interviewed a lot of comedians, but that's the one that always stood out to me.
You know, I did not lose my virginity until after high school. So I have listened to a lot of Weird Al Yankovic interviews, and the dude is so outrageously smart. I mean, he has a degree in architecture, I believe, and never drank, never done anything, and that's why he ages like a vampire. I mean, like he's the last 5 he started to finally I think the Dick Clark voodoo powers have begun to a little
took over.
But he's aging gracefully. I don't know if you noticed, like Dick Clark didn't age, like Ric Flair and Dick Clark didn't age forever, and then one day they woke up and it was like, what the fuck happened here? Remember that? Like Dick Clark. Well, I guess for Dick Clark it was a stroke, so we can't go too hard on him. But it went from like, hey yo, here we go, it's New Year's Rockin' Eve, like here we go.
Yeah, it was a little different.
10, and it's like, Dick, the ball's already dropped. 9. All right. See, if we were ready, I have to apologize. How dare you make fun of?
How about a time where you thought you were going to get fired and you didn't?
Man, okay, let's see here. So the big one, I don't know if I've told this story so many times. I don't know, but maybe I've told it in this show. If not, real quick. 2004, we made the morning show, CNN, Fox News, all the local affiliates, all the big news, because we said that you could not smoke in your car.
You're watching Action News 36 at 6.
A radio show prank turns into a nightmare for some city workers. Z-Rock 103 Radio falsely reported this morning that it is now illegal to smoke inside your car under Lexington's new smoking ban. That, of course, isn't true, but hundreds of listeners believed it and started calling into the city to complain.
It was in Lexington, Kentucky. There was a lot of consternation because of a thing just passed saying you couldn't smoke indoors.
Yeah.
So we said, well, again, it's like an April Fool's kind of gag, but it wasn't on April 1st. We said, the Lexington, Fayette County urban government just passed a law last night saying that you cannot smoke in your cars. And I'm 18. I make up these bullshit fines, right?
Yeah.
The cops began pulling people over in real life because they heard it in the radio
and thought it was real.
Swear to God.
Oh no!
You can look this up. This happened. A dude pulled his kids out of school and he quit his job because he was like, "Fuck this!" Like, it hit a fucking nerve, dude. But the biggest thing was, and you'd never in a million years would you think that this is something that you would have to plan for. 911 got overrun because people kept calling it, being like, is this real? Blah, blah, blah. And so we got heat for that.
Council Office, Amanda speaking.
Phone call after phone call.
Urban County Government, next call.
City workers had to explain the hoax.
Actually, that's not true. The radio station has been airing that all morning.
Like at no point. And we even clearly said, do not call the police.
Don't call and harass the city secretaries because they're just doing their job.
Disc jockeys say they never meant to cause any harm. They're just having a little fun.
we had to apologize for that because of a prank. And really, if anything, it's like, isn't that, especially, and this is more, relevant now than it was 20 years ago. Shouldn't you check your sources?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
right.
If you're a cop, especially, and you just hear a fucking thing.
And you thought that was how it's going down, like you would have checked on something.
Is it my fault for saying it? Or is it the cop's fault for pulling a motherfucker out? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The India-Pakistan war continues. We had to take a brief ceasefire while the one rifle was passed back and forth.
I worked at a place where you had the board in front of you, a ledge up here, drinking a Mountain Dew. I got a full can.
Oh yeah.
The morning guy was kind of a hothead. I was doing nights, still pretty much a newbie. Go to grab the Mountain Dew, hit it, and like in a slow motion, just into the air it went.
No.
And I mean, like right out of a sitcom, you heard the sizzle.
Oh no! Oh no!
Across, mic, CD, cart at the time, all 5 disabled, board completely destroyed, station off the air.
Dude, I'm living this. I'm seriously like I'm getting.
I'm a young kid in radio, and the next day I go into my program director's office. His name was Darren Lee. Darren was a guy that would live, eat, and breathe radio, and I'm so thankful that he was my first program director because he taught me to be passionate about it. He was always like strategizing, passionate.
I bet he was very passionate then.
Well, he was like Tom Hanks in A League of Their Own. Do you remember the scene?
There's no crying in radio.
You remember the scene where the center fielder gal comes over and he's early on in the movie, he's been really upset with her because she cannot hit the cutoff man.
Yeah.
And so he brings me in and he does the thing. He goes, the next time, actually, there's going to be no next time. You will not drink fluids in this studio for 3 years. Do you understand? That you cannot drink fluids in the studio
for 3 years.
Ever. And the morning guy is going to kill you. And the only thing I could say is, am I still employed? Get out of my office and I'll see you tomorrow.
For 3 years.
Like Tom Hanks in A League of Their Own. Every time I see that scene, it reminds me of Darren. $3,000 worth of damaged. They didn't even charge me or anything. The morning guy was pissed.
I would be so pissed.
I came back a couple days later. They replaced the board and did and everyone.
They replaced the board?
Whole deal. They didn't charge me or anything.
Dude, you didn't work for Cumulus. They would have beheaded you ritualistically on Al Qaeda television.
Yeah,
they've done it to a couple interns.
Well, they had no video of what happened to me after that, but I was able to keep my job. Everyone did comment at the place, I can't believe you're still employed. You're still here.
That is the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life.
And so now, to this day, I can't drink anything near a board.
Was that not, but you said 3 years. Was it not 3 years ago?
No, not 3 years.
I mean, like I said, I thought he laid the hammer down, like you can't drink fluid for 3 years.
No, way back when.
Oh,
so this
okay,
is
yeah. Just for 3.
89.
It's just such a fucking
91. 3 years. 3 years is 35 years. It's 3 years, but he said you can't drink fluids ever in this studio.
Hulk Hogan's whole title reign, you couldn't drink fluids for like 3 WrestleManias. You couldn't drink.
I think about where my radio career would be at if he had fired me. I probably would be.
If I could drink
car wash.
If I could, man, I tell you what. I thut you were going to say, but I tell you what. If I could drink fluids, I'd probably be at K-Rock right now. Man, I'd be Casey Kasem. I'd be having his show right now.
Yep.
But a long distance shout out. Oh God, that's so 3. I just can't get over 3 years.
And the sizzle to this day, I can still hear the sizzle of that Mountain Dew on that board.
That's like when the fucking WCW fought the NWO, and like if they lost, they couldn't wrestle for 2.5 years. That's like such an arbitrary like for 3. Yeah,
3 years
for 3.
No fluids
for 3
and hit the cutoff man.
Did he actually was it? I mean, did it take like 3 years? And was he like, all right, it's been 3 years? Or
I may have snuck a drink or two in there, but he didn't really. At that point, I don't know that it mattered at that point.
A Mountain Dew. So was it in a bottle and then was it a cup?
Can.
Jesus
full
Christ.
Can, slow motion.
The thing is, you can, from what I remember, you can get it wet with water. I mean, it's not, you shouldn't.
You can get it, you could, well.
I mean, you shouldn't, but it's better.
Know, at boards at that time, this is 91. I
Oh
don't,
no!
I don't know.
Oh, dude, this is radio, so we're all 91's new.
Yeah.
I was used to the 70s.
This reminds me of when right here in Springfield when we had the tornado, the F5 rolled through, and I don't know if you remember this, but it knocked down the complete WDBR tower.
Oh my
So it
God!
took down the whole tower.
Yeah.
In that tornado, obviously it was a big story. We had to get a makeshift tiny tower to use for a while until they rebuilt this thing, which took, I don't know, a year for that to happen. So anybody in Springfield remembers this story probably of that tower coming down. But
so you said a makeshift tower. So what were you using instead of
tin foil? No, it was like a size of that tripod, and it was. But they had it on top of the crown.
Yeah,
so they put it on top of the crown, and so it would get a range of, I don't know, 20, 25 miles. It wasn't much.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people. I'm not to interrupt, but I don't realize that. Like myself included, for a long time, it's not. It's just how high you are, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not like as you go, oh, it's a gigantic tower. Well, yes, but and obviously geography, fucking all that stuff matters. The stratosphere. I got a degree for some reason, but yeah, you could 25 miles at least is a lot more than you would think for a tiny little tripod.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's pretty nutty. So but one day we were on the air, and then all of a sudden we weren't, and we're off the air. This was about, I don't know, maybe a month in. And so this is one of those times where usually when you go off the air, immediately what happened.
Boom.
OT system went
because
down.
you're listening, you have your headphones.
Power
you don't hear
went
anything,
down.
Yeah.
Something at the tower side or something like that. You almost immediately can tell what it is. Well, this was the craziest 36 hours of radio I've ever been a part of, because for the love of God, we could not figure out what had happened. We were checking all the equipment at our place. We were checking everything. At wherever not the tower side, whatever equipment they were checking near where the tower was, and they just could not figure this out for the life of us. Finally, somebody said, I'm just going to go on top of the crown and just take a look at this tower to see if there's a problem. And somebody gone up there, and the story is, two people, and I think it was from one of the TV stations, had seen this tower that they had never seen there before. They had gone up there to fix their own tower or do something, and they'd seen this, and they're like, what is this?
Yeah,
it's probably left over from the such and such thing. Unplug it and just take it down. So they just took it down and just left it there, and we had no signal. And so for 36 hours, we're calling stations across the nation. We're getting Saga people involved. We're like, I don't know what happened. Can you figure out what happened? This went on and on and on.
They probably thought it was like some sort of like meth lab or something. A tiny little plugged-in
thing.
And
there's plenty of towers up there, so maybe this was something that they thought, we'd never noticed this before. Well, we don't need that.
Yeah,
and nobody had told them that the radio station was using that tower.
It's some little rebel hobos. It's the Hobo FM.
Yeah, right.
Today we're talking about where all the pies are cooling on the
right
windowsills. Miss Thatcher has an apple pie on the corner of Fifth. I would listen to Hobo FM over half.
I think that would be a good name.
Half the morning shows I've heard in my life.
We could call this that. I mean, the
Hobo,
one-time Hobo FM.
What was Pump Up the Volume, the Christian Slater movie? Is that what it was in the 80s, where he has his own? We'll do that. It'll be the new. Because didn't he got in a van, right? And he drove around in the fuck. Let's do that.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah. All you remember is Christian Slater. That's all I remember too. I feel bad. I've had you on the whole time. We barely talked about why you're here. And again, I said, I said it earlier because you see there's a table you can't see, dear viewer. Just off, we have hookers and cocaine, but right behind them is a table. I have it in front of a green screen because I'm serious. I heard it was Dave, and again, I thought Dave would be a great guy, dry on your grandma's pussy, right? So I don't know if we can say out on radio. We probably can these days. We could back when I was on it 6 months ago.
Yeah.
But I was going to arm wrestle you. I was going to do hot hands.
Pretty sure you would have won that one. That one I might have taken you on.
Well, probably. Well, I don't know. It's not that I'm showing you my muscle. I'm showing you how wide I am.
Oh, I got you.
How could you beat me? Look at how wide I am.
It's one of the ways you win. You distract with the whiteness of your arm.
Look at these.
How did
veins.
I lose? Showed them
Look
too much.
at these veins.
Showed them too much white on my arm.
But no, please, once again, tell us about this thing that you came here and it's been 45 minutes and we barely talked about it.
It's been a fun 45 minutes.
It has. I could talk forever. I want to have you back on.
Yeah, seriously, we could do part 2, part 3, and part 4 of Radio Stories.
Dude, so many.
But I'm to be very honest, I'm really proud of the Kiwanis group. They're an incredible service group in the area. I always tell people, if you want to get involved in the community, your first step should be downtown Kiwanis because of a number of reasons. One of them being the fact that we're involved in so many different service projects in the community. Another is the things that we're funding. We funded K-Carts at the Children's Hospital, and we funded, we fund James Project bundles for teens, fund Kiwanis Field renovations at UIS. So that's been awesome. Weekly speakers that are from the community. Ryan McCrady's coming on next week to talk about Springfield Segment Growth Alliance. So I always tell people, if you want to be ingrained in Springfield, join Kiwanis and we'll take care of all the work for you. And that's really what that organization does, but it's mainly the work in the community. The 5K, the Superhero Hustle 5K, this is the first year we're doing it. And thanks again for having us on to talk about this, because we'll take all the great extra promotion we can get for this event because it's so meaningful to us. But all the kids who race get a cape in this race. And then all the proceeds are funding these programs. But even more than that, we're really proud to have the partners we have. Springfield Clinic, the UIS gang has been tremendous, and we're going to run this at UIS. Starts at track. That's the recreation area. Starts at 9 a.m. on the 13th, but you can register by simply Googling Superhero Hustle 5K. And again, it means a lot to us. It'll be our biggest fundraiser that we do through the upcoming years, and just something we're really proud of. So
now, will people be able? Will they be dressing as their favorite superhero to run?
You can do whatever you want, and we encourage the dressing up as superheroes. We already know a bunch of people that are coming out as superheroes. Excuse me.
Are you going to be running, by the way?
No. It's all the duties of co-coordinating the race along with Jay.
Busy.
So it's like,
who's Jay? Leno?
Jay Leno is going to be there with us. Then he's going to drive you in his cars away from the race. So
I would love to. That'd be fantastic, actually.
We certainly appreciate him doing that for us. But yeah, it'll just be a lot of fun. And adults and kids, welcome. Dress up as a superhero. Don't dress up as a superhero. Dress up as a team of superheroes. Whatever you want to do, we encourage that.
You a superhero guy?
Not especially.
I'm hitting you with all the nerdy stuff.
I lost the movie chain after about the third Batman. I just could not keep track.
Well, okay, so I'm a huge super mega nerd. Come on, this is like the 15th time I've talked. I've listened to Weird Al Yankovic interviews, for God's sake.
Me too.
But even as nerdy as I am, it's hard as hell to follow the current Marvel cinematic universe. I was all the way with it up until the last Avengers, and I was there. But then it's like, all right, now you just gotta watch these 14 Disney Plus shows and this movie.
Set you up for what you need to know.
Well, like the new Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel movie really was like, all right, you just gotta watch 4 different TV shows and this girl that you didn't really like in the first place, but Sam Jackson's gonna be like, I don't want to watch. You're gonna. Okay. So I'm all right.
Well, what's the best one for those of us who aren't superhero people?
Ooh, that's a good question.
But no, you really need to see blank.
Okay, well, I think it depends on what you're going for. Are we talking some street level goddamn shit like Batman, some more whimsical kid level stuff? I mean,
I'm talking visual effects that really impress me.
Oh man, I love you know what? I love the newest Guardians of the Galaxy. Visually, it's an absolutely beautiful movie. But did you watch the first one, the very first Guardians of the Galaxy? Nope. Really fantastic. I mean, did you like Star Wars?
Yep.
You will like Guardians.
Some of the Star Wars, yeah.
Right? Yeah. I mean, of course. I mean, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah. Come on, everybody. For God's sake here. Yeah, but that's
more than 3 hours. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have a story to tell, Dave. Now I'm starting to think we should have arm wrestled each other again. That'd be a good place to wrap this up, but I'm not going to because I'm going to keep you here for as long as possible. No, I like what you said when it comes to the downtown Kiwanis. That if you want to help, you make it easy, right?
Yeah.
Because how many people, and you and I, we did. I say we did radio. I quit. You're not on the air, but you think you are. You're actually you're in an institution right now, rocking back and forth, and Dina is your doctor.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm a broom watching you. But before all that happened, I'm trying. I'm so sorry.
Where were we going? We were going down a Kiwanis Road. This I remember. There was a Kiwanis angle.
That's what I goddamn need right there, Dave. That's what I need. We've done
this
radio.
This wasn't the closer. I could keep you on track, but not the closer.
We have helped people out, Dave.
Yes.
And when you help people, you realize that a lot of people out there want to help, but man, it just seems overwhelming, right? You're like, man, where do I do? Where do I get started? Oh, here's a nacho, and you forget.
Yeah.
But you make it easy. Go to Kiwanis, volunteer.
Yeah.
You're doing stuff for the community. You're sending money to little sick kittens and stuff like what's going on?
Kittens and kids and all kinds
the
of
kids
programs.
I could take or leave, but the kittens.
No, it's really more about the kittens.
Sure, yeah.
But it's exactly what you just said. If you want to get involved, and it's overwhelming for you to even start, like, what am I even Googling to do that? Go to, at least come to some meetings, because we get charities that speak a lot, by the way. We get leaders in the community. So it's so funny because when I talk to people after a number of years of doing Kiwanis, and they'll reference something in the community, I can almost say to them, oh, I remember they were talking last March about that. Or I remember when the James Project came on and they talked about that.
You feel connected to it.
Connected in a very simple way that is just no work on your part.
Right.
And then if you want to be a part of these projects, and whether they're what we fund or service projects like Kids Bash, it's just so simple, because you join, and then you're connected to all these things, and you didn't have to do the work. And then you can pick and choose. I do want to be involved with James Project, or I do want to be involved with Big Brothers Big Sisters, or I want to find out more about Springfield Sangamon Growth Alliance and what they're doing. I mean, these are the things that help out a lot when you join Kiwanis.
And if you want to join Kiwanis, how do you do that?
Downtownkiwanis.org. There's even an application right there, but honestly, we encourage you to just come to a few meetings. Lunch is on us, and you're good to go.
Well, there you go. If you want to feel connected to your community, go ahead and do that. If only there was some sort of box built into every automobile you could flip on and listen to local programming.
Where would you find that?
Well, who the fuck knows? All right, hey, no, you can check out him. You're on the Mixed Morning Show with Bonzi, right?
Oh, that
no.
I'm
I'm sorry, Sarah and Rocky on the.
How would that go? Think about that one. Can we get Sarah, Rocky, Dina, Bonzi, and myself? Nobody get a word in
Nobody.
Nope.
All you would need is Bonzi.
It'd be entertaining. No, it wouldn't be entertaining.
Just need Bonzi.
Yeah.
Or listen to me. I think you talked for 5 seconds on this goddamn podcast. I talk about Lou Dickey.
I got some good talking in.
I know you did. I cut it all out, though. We're going to see you guys. I really do, man. I really want you back here.
I'd love to.
I would love to talk about just the history of Springfield radio. Wouldn't that be rad?
That would be fun. And I think you need to work Dina into this.
I would love to I want Dina there.
That.
And her husband, who is, a bit of a pussy, let's be honest, he can be outside.
Yeah.
I love Steve.
You invite him in for a few parts of it.
Well, no, he's going to be in the car. He's going to, I think Dina will have him drive her. And then
back in an hour, honey.
Yeah. To keep it warm.
Yep.
Keep it warm for me.
Yep.
All right. Check him out. No, what's your actual morning? Get your plugs in.
Dave and Dina, 1019 The Wolf. We've done it for 22 years. Hopefully we get to do it for 22 years more.
22 years. 3 of them have been good.
Maybe 3.
Okay, well, we're grading on a curve. Yeah. We'll see you back here next week. Hit that subscribe ski button. He's on social media. We said that. Do you have any individual social media plugs that you want to hit on?
No, just the Kiwanis
Good.
one. Hit
there
the
you
Kiwanis
go. There you go. I guess. The kids. Okay. Yeah. You know us, 217. We'll see you. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right. Awesome. That's a ton of fun.
That's fun. That fun.
Definitely got